Hey everyone, it's Kong, and I've got something that I don't usually post, but some Apex Arena matches. So, last night after barbecue, my brother Tristan66 came over and we co-piloted a few matches. We have a little strategist chair beside my gaming PC. And yeah, we basically played a few Apex matches. I was already in gold, so as you can see, we didn't make tons and tons of progress, but I just thought I'd show a couple of the more interesting matches. I did match up against two players who are regulars on Maincord, so I thought it would be kind of fun to showcase a couple of those. So I won't spoil the winners quite yet, but let's just hop into a couple of those matches. Okay, so the first match of the night was against Ka, who takes out our Zerida first, leaving us with our pick of tanks. I'm not really going to stop and pause and break these matches down with real detailed commentary, so it's mostly just going to be kind of quick looks through the fight. So he got rid of our Ares right away, which is upsetting. Ares being probably my most powerful PvP character, not surprisingly. So we get Yulia out, who's kind of my second most reliable built character in my box. And this is really kind of our warm-up match in terms of figuring out what's going on. So here we decided we still had Landius left in 4th place. We might as well go with the old 2-tank setup, especially since Landius is quite well built. Having a backup tank lets us do a little bit looser tactics with Jugler if we want to run him in with a splash and then not have to worry about the rest of our team being unguarded. So we're going to spend some setup time here on the first turn. And he's doing the same kind of thing with a 2-tank setup, although I'm not super sold on the efficacy of Kidnapper LeeNa, really. I mean, I guess it depends on your team composition. So this is the point where we realize that their Jugler has not brought Beast Shock. So Jugler is not really going to be much of a DPS problem. He's a pure tank here. So we really just have to focus on killing their Yulia and their Hiei. Interestingly, also, their Jugler is only guarding physical right now, and Dielectric and Yulia are both magical attackers. So we do have some potential openings that we're looking for. So we're going to bring short leg Yulia right into the action. To go after LeeNa here with impunity, and mainly to get our Godly Menace set up. We could have attacked him with Discipline, but we thought having that healing might help us. Now he brings Hiei all the way down, so he hits Jugler with his AoE splash, and that healed Yulia back up to within her threshold. But it turns out he wasn't gunning for Yulia anyway, he went after Landius. Didn't kill him. And that lets us bring Dielectric in for the unguarded magical attack that lets us finish Hiei. So yeah, if that had been a physical character like Leon or someone like that, then Jugler would have guarded it. So he does get his buff Yulia to come down here and finish off one of Landius' lives. And now she's kind of a more annoying tank there than Jugler is, because she has her Godly Menace up, she has Tiaris' Healing Light. So we're going to go ahead and splash Jugler in here. Kind of looking to see what we can set up for a Beast Shock on the next turn. He goes ahead and splashes us, probably hoping to finish Landius off, but it didn't kill him. So Jugler and then Iris come in to heal back up. So this has kind of become the battle of the Jugglers and Yulias. So his Yulia is actually still in a position to rip my team up. So I do need to be careful about her. Since she has so many of these heals on, really our goal is to have Godly Menace wear off so that we can hit her with a 1-2 punch. Like, kill her, let her revive with Yulia, and then have no hit points left, so that Deedlit or Iris or someone can finish her off. But as long as she has Menace and that healing light, that's not looking super likely. So we're going to go up here and save Jugler's life. And see, that's where their Jugler didn't have an attack skill, so he couldn't kill Iris there. We're just going to kind of reset to try to open the map up a little bit to give me more ins at their Yulia. Just kind of playing patiently at this point. So Yulia goes ahead and finishes my Jugler. But now I think her Godly Menace is gone. After finishing that turn. Yep. So the plan now is to hit her with one of these Yulia or Deedlit to trigger a revive at low hit points. She can't fill herself up when the second attack comes in. And Jugler's still not guarding any of these magical attacks. He's trying to get his Yulia buffed back up again so that she can one-shot someone else. And Healing Light only brings her up to about half, and she doesn't have her Godly Menace pre-healing here, so Deedlit's able to finish her off. And then that is about it for Ka. So game 1 is a nice win there. And we'll go ahead and load into game 2. So, game 1 was a fairly clean, straightforward one. Game 2 is against Areign, and this one is the opposite. It's pretty messy. So he's going with Leaden as his tank right out of the gate, and they leave us with Ares. So we're going to take Ares right away. They pick up Tiaras to go with their Leaden. We get rid of the other tank. Having Jugler as a second tank is annoying. Just having Leaden I'm not as worried about. And my characters aren't necessarily built to handle Omega, but we're not necessarily worried about Omega vastly outskilling us, because we're hoping to be able to outzone him with this combination of Ares and Iris to basically kill him before he can do anything mean to us. So we also get Leon for the faction buff for Ares. And sure enough, he puts Omega out. So the plan right from the start is to jack Ares up as much as possible, and then get him into the midst of this team to splash them with AoE. We're hoping that a strong enough AoE, so here's the faction buff from Leon, we're hoping that a strong enough AoE can finish off Tiaras, Yulia, and Omega, assuming they're all clustered together. And so far things are looking fairly good. Although, Areign is doing a good job of kind of lining up in a big straight line, which makes things a little bit more annoying for Ares. So we're going to go ahead and catapult him in now. And they are fully lined up, so we have a choice here, and I'm still not sure what the best choice to make in this situation is. We can go in, we figure these are the three squishiest here, Yulia, Tiaras, and Omega. Our mobility lets us get to just here, so we can move 2 spots and go through Tiaras for the extra crit rate and the ability to move away afterwards. Or we can come down here and move the full distance to get our, you know, the full benefits of the faction buff and Ares' skill. So, I don't know what would be the best overall choice there. We opted with the most movement possible. And flew in under Tiaras to get into position and blasted the old AoE. So we easily kill Tiaras here, but look, we barely finish Omega off with the proc from the Scarlet Reaper. Now Ares' job here is done, so I'm not super worried about him. But maybe I should have been, because we're starting to realize that we're still in a kind of precarious position where we do need to be able to kill this Yulia somehow. So the plan now becomes, this is where this match gets so dirty. Our whole plan with this, what's left of this team, is to somehow get Reaper's Touch on Yulia and let her kill herself. We figure if we can get Reaper's Touch on Yulia, then that is going to be kind of our win condition here. Unfortunately, my Listel is not fully built, and I left her in her non-flying class because I've been leveling it up, and I forgot to switch her back before loading into Apex here, so Listel's mobility options being limited makes it a little bit harder to get that move off on Yulia, so it becomes kind of a positioning nightmare here. So both players are still in decent shape. So yeah, and especially earlier he had gospeled Ledin, I think. Or Deedlit. He gospeled some non-Yulia character, but now with Gospel back, he was able to gospel Yulia. So our plan is really just to wait until that gospel is off. Thankfully, his team is short-legged enough, and my team is short-legged enough, but that by the time we close this gap here to get into them, the gospel is gone. So we know the gospel is going to be gone next turn. And we also know that this is kind of a suicidal move for Leon. Our whole intention with Leon here is basically, we don't even care about the Blue Dragon Scramble as much. We're hoping to bait Yulia into range of Listel's Reaper's Touch. She just needs to move 1 spot over here, and then we'll be able to get Reaper's Touch off. So we bring Leon in just enough that she has to move over 1 or 2 spots to attack him, and she goes for it. She does kill him, but the gospel is gone now, so we're able to move Listel in and get that Reaper's off. So he's repositioning and buffing up a little bit. And we're going to start coming in. Ledin comes in and kidnaps my Landius, which doesn't really expose anyone. Doesn't really do a ton of damage. Iris just takes out those phalanxes, which is kinda, but not super helpful. And then Yulia comes in with all her big healing to finish herself off, or get her really close. Certainly close enough that a weak little blood dance from my injured Listel can finish her. I think she only had 200 hit points there. So we're still not out of the woods. We definitely needed Yulia down, but we also have a healer and an unbuilt Listel left to win this match, and his Deedlit is a little bit more useful overall. So it's going to become kind of a positioning grind now. But fortunately with Yulia out of the way, we do have a chance. See, even an unbuilt 4-star Listel is pretty bulky. You know, I'm not going to pretend that my Listel is low-key any good at all. She's... I think this one, before I changed her class and put some back to her class with Areign enchants, I think she only has like 8,000 hit points, so kind of ridiculous. Yeah, like this is... there's no couching the fact that this is not a good Listel. Don't think I'm trying to do that. But the main point right now is really just to keep everyone alive. So I teleport Listel in to get a little buff on her and keep her out of the poison fog danger zone. We're positioned fairly well to box them out here. Listel gets another Blood Dance in, which just makes the rest of their lives a little bit more difficult. Lidden's fully boxed out here. And now their only source of healing is Reaper's Touched. He may have been trying to kidnap Landius into one of these foggy spots, but the kidnap tends to leave you as close to where you were as possible, so all that does is kill Lidden, and that's the end of that match. So really dirty, really messy match. A good grind from Areign, but we just came out on top with a little bit of Listel-based strategery there, which we really needed. So thanks for that match, Areign. Now let's move on to the third match. Okay, so the third match is the first of the Maincord doubleheader. So I loaded in against Dielectric here. And he squishes my Ares hopes and dreams, first thing. So we do the same. Getting rid of some of those scary long reach characters, which we can't fully do with this box, so... Now he banned all of our Gospels and then brought Listel out early, which is very concerning and problematic. I don't really have any way to deal with that anymore. So right from the get-go, we can see that this pick ban is leaving me in a very bad position. We're really just hoping that we can put something together with, these are short leg characters, so picking Leon at the end, really just a way of trying to get some range in. So we're pretty outgunned, we're pretty outmatched. But one thing that we did notice... Now, I was talking to Dielectric on Discord after this match, and he says that he mispositions his Lambda on a turn coming up here. But what we really want to take advantage of, I think the misplay begins with Landius moving up here and using his faction buff instead of his guard. So these two characters are both sitting out of guard right now. And we can... Our really only hope in this match is to fling Leon as far ahead as we can with Iris Teleport, and then regardless of what he does with one of these characters, try to pick off the other one. So if he moves one of them back into Landius's guard, the other one is still exposed, so we can hopefully pick it off and then see what happens. So that is what we'll do. We'll teleport Leon forward, knowing that, another option Dielectric has is this very move, to come forward and put some damage on me with Lambda. So that just makes my decision of which one to pick off a little easier. Since Lambda's closer, I can go in use my 3C and take her out, and that lets me retreat a little bit further back. We could have gone for the LeeNa as well, but the kill was not as assured, and it wouldn't have let Leon get further away. So our only goal here now, with no way to counter the Listel, is to run away and hope that we can open up another positional advantage. And we know that he has an act again up his sleeve as well, and certainly one of the things that he's gunning for is to get Reaper's Touch on my Yulia. So we're going to try to keep everyone away as much as possible. We do put a little bait Elwyn in, hoping that it'll cause him to open up his positioning and let Leon come in, but he still has Listel guarded by Landius there, so not helpful to us. This is a very sturdy advance from Dielectric and kind of a desperate scramble for me. So we knew a Mind Borer was coming and we were hoping to at least get someone out of the way, which is why Leon ran way up to the top there. And Yulia's kind of hiding in the bottom corner, hoping to avoid a Reaper's Touch. But I think Dielectric is paying very close attention to his positioning here now, after that first little Lambda slip-up. So, with nothing but seriously injured short legs... See, he moves his Landius in first before moving Listel in to do any kind of Blood Dance follow-up. So this just decimates my team. It's pretty much, you know, the ship has sailed on this now, so we're just kind of throwing our characters to the lions at this point, knowing that, like, Yulia's gonna kill Iris here. But it was kind of a way to, you know, concede our defeat. Leon has no hope of doing anything here. Landius procs Blood Shield anyway. So yeah, this one's in the books as well. He gets his Reaper's Touch off on Yulia. So good game, Dielectric. Thanks for that one. Now, let's load into the next match. So the next match is versus LeeNa on Windy Outpost. We see they have Lustrial in their box, which is mildly concerning. First thing though, we're going to get rid of Listel. We learned our lesson after the last match. Listel's too dangerous to us. If we lose our Gospels, I didn't want to risk that again. We did take out a healer as well. Particularly on this map, a healer that opens up lots of mobility options for this high mobility box. But also to put some healer pressure on, so that hopefully he chooses to pick, or hopefully they choose to pick a healer in the next round instead of Illustrial, which will give us time to ban her later. So they do get Zerida out. We take away some more of their really dangerous mobile characters and bring in Ares, thankfully. Ares makes me a little bit less worried about Zerida here. Getting rid of some of their AoEs. And we get our faction buff for Ares. So this is going to be our first opportunity to try single target Ares as a Jug Buster. So they leave us with some good options for our healers for our last pick, either a teleport with Iris or an act again with LeeNa, and they chose to bring LeeNa in their last slot. So interestingly, they have Stone Colossus on their Jugler here, which I don't think makes a huge difference in Ares' ability to punch him. He might have chosen the Colossus there because we also brought Leon, and he was afraid that we might have bone dinos to punch through his Jugler with Leon. We're bringing Leon right up to the front because we know when we send Ares in, which we're about to obviously load him up and catapult him with Iris, we do want to have Leon as close as possible to be able to get some kind of follow-up in on our next turn. If all goes well, hopefully this Jugler will be dead. Ares probably also dead on a follow-up, but then we'll want to be able to get into the mix and do some more damage. And Leon is our only other mobile DPS. So we're just getting him as close as possible to get him ready. He also leaves me with a nice LeeNa there that I can charge through, giving me extra crit chance and ability to move afterwards. So we're going to pop the 3C, go all the way in, and we do successfully spike that Jugler. Now, he had 18,000 hit points, so that must be a Blood Pact Jugler, I'm guessing. So we get some nice AoE damage, and then the reason we ran Ares back here, instead of trying to split their team up a little bit, now, okay, that's interesting. So LeeNa is actually not able to get that kill on Ares with her 3C. Ares, who only has like 500 magic defense. What is going on here? I guess it's because she was hurt, but that doesn't really speak well to LeeNa's ability to kill. I mean, he's not even really defensive against magic, so... Luckily, somehow Ares survives to live another day. Really, he's going to be kind of bait. Oh, here's another interesting move. We proc Breeze here. The original plan was just to move her in and then hopefully get her just to here so that we can pick at LeeNa, maybe kill her, get Ares a little bit buffed up. But we proc the Breeze, so we figure might as well go all the way and go in and finish off this Zerida. Kind of a nice lucky Breeze there. He's going to come in and finish off my Ares with his LeeNa. But Ares actually survives it with 1,000 hit points again. And that's all LeeNa can take. That's enough cheesy Ares cheese. 2 attacks in a row that Ares probably should have been dead from that he survived with 1,000 hit points. So thank you for that battle, LeeNa. Sorry about Ares. And with that, we're going to move into the second match of the Maincord doubleheader, so this time against Joker. So this is an interesting pick ban, a little bit of a squirrely one. So we put the pressure on early with another one of these one healer picks. But I actually, between matches, so since that match where my Lestelle really let me down with her mobility, I actually did go back and switch her class to her correct class. So she has her Arena enchants on, she can fly, she's a little bit bulkier now. So we noticed that we could, by taking out his healer, one of his healers and one of his gospelers, he only has 2 gospels now, and 2 healers now. So on his next pick, if he picks a healer, we can ban both gospels and bring our Lestelle out, hopefully. If he picks one of his gospels to protect against Lestelle, then we can ban the other 2 healers, and he has to rely on off healers for the rest of the match. So we put him kind of between a rock and a hard place with that early LeeNa pick. So we're going to go with Landius here. He does ban Ares and Zerida, smart bans, so unfortunately I can't use my Ares. And he doesn't go with Gospels or healers, so we chose to get rid of the Gospels and bring out Lestelle. So I'm assuming, Joker, I'm assuming your Yusuke is quite good to be a strong early pick like that. And he is a good win condition character. And he does get Sakura out, who does have heal reversal or some kind of move that messes up your healing. I don't have her, unfortunately. We're bringing Bozil just to give us options for buffing Listel or maybe having sleep. Let's see what's going on. And he comes with another healer. So yeah, this match, the pick ban is looking fairly close. And he's coming right in with Jugler, so we decide we're going to get kind of set up here. The hope, right from the start, now that Jugler is there, and we do have Iris, the hope from the start is to catapult Listel forward and get a Reaper's Touch on him right away. So he doesn't really have any way of stopping that. Yeah, so if we get Reaper's Touch on Jugler right away, that kind of gives us a little bit of extra DPS that we wouldn't have had otherwise. He's going to come in and open the proceedings with this little poke from Sakura. We're just getting Bozel forward in position, ready to jump in as follow-up after Listel does her thing. He's setting up Yusuke. Elwyn is hoping to amble forward and be useful in one of the later rounds with those short legs. So we get Listel in. He's trying to keep his Tiaras out of the way, just to make sure we don't Reaper's Touch her. But we get the Jugler. Now this puts him in another one of those double bind positions, because we know that we've opened ourselves up to a big Jugler splash from his 3C. But we do have options. So if he does decide to move his Jugler forward, that opens us up to a nice juicy blood dance on the rest of his team. If he stays there and does something else, then thankfully we did bring Bozel into range to come forward and hit them with an AoE, which will then recruit Jugler's healing to do some more damage for us. So we just want to see what he does, and then we have one of those two plans up our sleeves. So he's going to port Jugler in, give us a big splash, and that means we're going to go with the Blood Dance plan. So this is far from over, because his Sakura does come in and messes up my whole team here. We do get our Bozel AoE off, which kills Sakura outright, and we get some mean AoE splash damage on the rest of his team over here. Yusuke even gave us a little extra boost there. So we're just going to kind of continue setting up and see what Joker wants to do after that kind of devastating Listel cannonball. Take a bit of damage here and spread out, but I think Joker realizes that this one is pretty much over with just a Tiaras and a Jugler who's already used his 3C. So that's it for that match. So as far as the Maincord doubleheader, we won one and we lost one. So kind of the story of my career in Apex, really. But thanks for the match, Joker. That was a fun one, and I was glad to kind of feel like my Listel redeemed herself after being kind of an anchor earlier on. So that's going to be all the matches for tonight, or for today, or whenever, for the weekend, I guess. So thanks everyone who played me in Apex this weekend. My community of viewers are very gracious folks, so I don't expect there will be any mean or callous comments. At least I hope there won't. I trust there won't. So yeah, I won 4, lost 3, made up a little bit of ground, still stuck in Gold 3, which is really what I expected. I'm sure I'll stay in Gold 3 for the rest of this season, but I am, like I said in my previous video, I'm going to keep kind of mucking around in here and tweaking my box and getting a little bit more experience and just kind of seeing what happens in Apex. So yeah, thanks for watching and thanks for your continued support, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy Langrissing, everyone.